cybersecurity, networking, and marathons. We talked to an expert in all three on this episode of The Crude Truth.
In 1901, at Spindletop Hill near Beaumont, the future of Texas changed dramatically as, like a fountain of fortune, thousands of barrels of oil burst from the earth towards the sky. Soon, Detroit would be cranking out Model Ts by the millions, and America was on the move, thanks to the black gold being produced in Texas. Now, more than a century later, the vehicles are different, but nothing else has truly changed. Sure, there may be many other alternative energy sources like wind and solar and electric. But let's be honest, America depends on oil and entrepreneurs. And if the USA is truly going to be independent, it has to know the crude truth.
This episode is brought to you by LFS Chemistry. We are committed to being good stewards of the environment. We are providing the tools so you can be too. NAPE Expo, where deals happen. Air Compressor Solutions. When everything is on the line, Air Compressor Solutions is the dependable choice to keep commercial business powered up. Sandstone Group. Exec Crew. Elevate your network, elevate your knowledge. Texas Star Alliance. Pecos Country Operating. Fueling our future.
Well, hello again, and thank you as always for tuning in to another episode of The Crude Truth. Today we are recording from the Real News offices here in Austin, Texas, as always. So thank you as always to them. They are a sponsor of the show also. But I love it down here in Austin because it's weird. They're real weird, and the vibe is just fun and amazing. It's been a whirlwind over the last few weeks. With me, as always, is my co-host, Kristy. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, man, doing good. How's Austin treating you so far this time?
Weird, like you said it.
But
I love it. I love it here.
Yes,
Yeah.
the food is great.
Food, people are amazing. I love it.
Oh, it's always fun. Yes, you would never think that, but I enjoy the energy more than anything. And why I say you never think that is because every time I walk into this town, I got to like put my armor on because, we're the oil and gas industry. And it's like, there's so many people that are like, oh, boo, they want. So anyway.
Your armor on.
No, put my armor on.
God.
There I go. And so, but also, as we continue into the year, we've had some crazy things happening. You and I are really ramping up the networking side of things on trying to get out, meet people, grow this circle that we have. But also with networking, and it's not the same kind of networking, but cybersecurity has been a big thing. We had that crazy crash, 2 weeks ago with the airports being shut down. What's going on with all of that? And so I'm just so excited that we brought on somebody today that's an expert in these fields of networking and cybersecurity, Blair Bravo. Blair, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, man, we cannot complain. It is just awesome to have you here in Austin. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Excited.
Well, for those out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a sales professional, connector, and lifelong learner is what I would say. Who also likes to run on the side.
I love it. So, and the teaser and kind of building up, I like your word connector, which is not networking. It's you're a connector. And then also, you said you're in the sales side of cybersecurity. There's just so many things going on right now. Tell us about the cybersecurity industry as a whole, and maybe a little bit about that airport debacle a few weeks ago. I know you and I kind of talked about it.
Yeah, and I actually I was part of the many people that experienced delays in their flights. But yeah, so the threat landscape is constantly changing. That's one thing that I learned ever since I started in this industry. There's always going to be something that happens, and there are best practices that organizations and business owners should have for themselves. But again, there's always going to be something that it's not if, it's when. So making sure that you have the right controls in place for your company and your business to protect that investment. And it should be an ongoing process.
Wow. So with what happened with the airlines, what did happen exactly?
So don't get too technical on me because I will never pretend to be somebody too super technical, but I will say there was an update that went out that was pushed out, and as a result, they call it the blue screen of death, where obviously you probably saw that on news headlines or even saw photos of it where basically Delta specifically, experienced outages and that, had a ripple effect and delayed flights. People were not able to check in. They had to reboot everything. So, it was an update that was actually pushed out. I think Microsoft was also involved as well. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I know Kristy had some friends that were involved in that as well.
Yes, it's coming from London.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it was, it permeated everything. And I think the lesson in all of that, CrowdStrike there's this running joke in the cybersecurity industry where it's like, no one has ever been fired for implementing CrowdStrike, but it also shows that even the biggest, strongest vendors and service providers out there are still, this was more of an internal thing, I think. So there's probably going to be some repercussions from the legal side, I think, maybe with that. But I think that no matter how large you are, there's always a risk of, there being either a human error or it being, an actual attack, which the actual attack I don't think was the case in this situation. It was more of a company error.
So what about like AT&T was out, I think, a couple months ago. Is that very similar in a sense?
Probably from like an internet and Wi-Fi.
All of it was down. Yeah.
From a CrowdStrike standpoint, they provide managed security services in the form of either a service or a product that's deployed within an organization. That's either handled internally for internal teams or in a co-managed fashion. That's what I know about it. Obviously, I don't work at CrowdStrike, but that's what I do know about it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, I think the lesson also is, or just the key takeaway, you mentioned the outage with AT&T. It's we're so reliant on all of these different pieces of technology. And as someone that's, a business owner or an executive, how do you mitigate that risk? And how do you, most people are not given a blank check to do that. So how do you do that in a cost-effective way, but spend where it's appropriate too?
And that was, I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be my next question. It's like, you have so many companies that are smaller companies, how do you explain to them about, hey, you probably could use some cybersecurity because everything is going to the cloud, like the networks, I feel like it was a play on words, we're talking about networking and connecting, but, networks are a huge part of the computer industry, right? And so how do you convince these people, and I guess not even convince, but how do you show them that, hey, all your data is up in the cloud and we're going to be that protector that protects all of that from cyber.
Definitely. So every conversation that I have with a client or new client, it always starts with a consultative approach. What is going on right now in your business and what is most important to you as a business owner? We start high level and then we kind of narrow in from there. And that's what I like so much about working at Thrive specifically, is the consultative white glove approach that we have when we have conversations with our clients. So it's really understanding, okay, what is in place today from a networking, cloud, cyber standpoint, and then going from there to really understand, okay, well, maybe your network's great and that's something that's covered, but your cloud, everything's on-prem right now. So do we need to have a conversation around migrating you to the cloud or doing, that's not done overnight. That's a phased approach. So it's really meeting them where they're at. And I can get into all the technicalities. Well, some of the technicalities, we have them fill out, a worksheet form to kind of understand what exactly is going on right now and where do they want to go. Because protecting the business as a whole, that investment is so important. And it looks different for each type of company or business owner, whoever that we're speaking to. So it's really meeting them where they're at now and really aligning the goals of the business with technology.
Yeah, so there's just so many things that y'all are up to. For individuals out there that have more cybersecurity type questions, how can they get a hold of you and Thrive?
LinkedIn, I would say. Okay. But we'll keep it easy. One method, LinkedIn or personal cell phone number. That's really the two modes that I like to collaborate.
So you don't have an assistant or anything like that?
Not yet. Yeah. One day we will.
There you go.
It's not yet.
Put it out there.
Well, I wanted to switch gears here and talk networking, connecting with other people. You're part of a great group here in Austin, and you're even growing your connect network even more.
Mhm.
You know, let's talk about that a little bit and to dive into that and all things that you're up to.
The backpack one.
Yes.
Was that a network?
Yes,
Okay.
that was networking, and that was through so the Loop ATX is a social performance, social networking group that myself and 4 others have started here to really bring together diverse, driven minds to ignite Austin's next wave of leaders. And when I say diverse, I mean from different types of verticals and skill sets, where I think we have like 67 different roles and titles that have either attended our events or shown interest. So I say that because I want to be around people that constantly challenge me, and also learn from people in other industries that, you know, I might not come across being in the cybersecurity and sales space. So really wanted to bring people together to connect genuinely, offer professional development opportunities, and then give back to the community in a philanthropic way. So
how many backpacks did you get?
So 90 backpacks we were able to fill. Every student that received a backpack had all of their school supplies for the entire year.
Oh my.
We helped support the Paseo School down in South Austin.
Okay.
And I was fortunate enough to partner with Rob Espinoza at Austin for the Kids. It is his nonprofit. It's really centered around helping children in need and providing for them in the Austin area. So he had reached out and said, hey, would you like to partner with me on this event? And I said, absolutely. So we did it, learned a lot about the nonprofit space as a result of that. So, and obviously that specific event was super close to my heart because I was previously a special education teacher. So it's always great to be able to start kids off on the right foot because it's so important.
Yeah. Start them off right, mindset right. Let's go. And then you can attack the school year. I love that.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
So next year, we hope to be able to provide backpacks for all 400.
I was going to ask you, what is your goal for next year?
Yeah, all 400.
Okay.
We'll get Rob on here sometime to talk about his nonprofit.
That would be
in
amazing.
Austin for the Kids. So
Okay.
yeah,
Love that. Thank you.
Man, I mean, the fact that y'all are out here, you know, helping the community, doing things, that's, you know, something that Kristy and I have talked about in the past is what are you sharing and giving and not expecting and receiving? Is that right, Kristy?
Expecting in return. You give it and not expect anything in return. Yeah.
Just non-transactional.
Yeah.
You know, just be a good human, be a good person, and without wanting anything in return.
Because when you want, that's when it backfires.
And we live in a society today that everyone wants something in return or wants to get something from someone else, and
or where can you get me? Or
that's not where your heart should be. And I think that is one of the key differentiators specifically for this group is that, you know, for me, you know, I'm a runner, like I mentioned, and I could go to a run club every Monday morning with the same people, but not be able to dive deep and get to know them. Obviously, you have one-offs, but generally speaking, there's deep conversations aren't happening. So let's create an environment where we can have a recurring cadence of meeting to build those deep connections, understand what the group is going through, what development opportunities do you need, how can the group support you from a community standpoint, and we're all better when we are giving back to the community. Something special happens when you are around a group of people that's giving back to the community without wanting anything in return, and you form a special bond that way.
For sure.
So,
and the acknowledgement, I think people want acknowledgement for what they're giving to, and that's you know, oh, look at here type thing. But if you do it, you know, like in the Bible, obviously it's give without basically acknowledgement, and you will receive
absolutely
the gifts of the land. So.
Yeah, I think that's been a key thing, just the religious piece too.
Okay. So you mentioned the religious, but you were telling me about your prayer.
Yes.
I know it's very long, but what is the prayer that you pray every morning?
So it's called the Armor of God prayer.
Okay.
It's basically calling on God to set you up for success in your day, in your mind, in your body, and in your heart. In any situation that you walk into, you should have a calming, confident presence about you, and you get that through the Lord. So yeah, it's a great prayer.
Like
Red Rocks Church in Austin.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I like to say, spread your light. You know, walk in, spread your light to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, you all are on it over here, and I mean, because morning routines are something that's so important. And talking about it, I mean, right? And I know I do my best with one. Everybody should, has a pretty good morning routine for the most part, even if you just kind of roll out of bed to the couch. But but when you talk about your prayer and the body of armor, and you're just speaking it and you're putting it out there, and that's the awesome part also in what you're doing. You guys with your Loop of Austin, y'all meet. How do y'all implement the whole? Because you're saying, hey, we want to get into these deep dive conversations through giving back and these deals, and do we want to? So what are y'all doing to? Obviously, you're there, but how do you talk to people? Because as anybody that knows me, I'm the worst at talking. and tell people, how do you open up? No,
just be yourself.
You have to be yourself. How do you feel? Also, just being vulnerable, I think, is so important because it's okay to not know the answer to everything. We're not supposed to. We are all still figuring it out. But I think with what we're wanting to create, and again, we're still very much in the building phase. I mean, this started less than 6 months ago for us. So it's, offering a place in a community that people can come to no matter, what stage in their life that they're at, whether they're really seeking connection in their life, they really need more community. There's a spot for you here. If you really are really aligned with the philanthropic piece and that's the only thing that, you're interested in, then you're only come to our philanthropic events. Maybe, I think offering a regular cadence of meeting too. We were able to have a large event at the beginning of the summer, but then also we actually had a leadership meeting this past week and really kind of getting into offering more niche events. So for example, cybersecurity, people in those areas to meet other people in that industry. We also have somebody that's very involved in financial services and the private equity space, wealth management, maybe those, offering opportunities for those people to connect on a deeper level around business and maybe the challenges that they're going through so that they can help each other exceed in their careers as well. So I think we're very much in the building phase still, and we're still figuring it out.
That's the fun of it, though.
Exactly. And what I do know is that we're on to something because people are craving community.
Connection. Everybody's so wanting that so bad.
Yeah, I definitely think that was something that came out of COVID. We were all, remote. And then right now, there's a mix of hybrid in office, but there's still a very large component of people that, are working from home. And I am one of those people. And we are made to be around others and to have a sense of community. So
important.
Yeah, I think that's really the goal is community around young professionals and whatever that looks like. Obviously, there's, it can take a variety of different ways, which is why, connection can mean, a happy hour, but connection could also mean a yoga event.
Exactly.
It's professional development could be a cold plunge event or a TED Talk-esque type of panel.
It's anything.
It's anything. So
it doesn't have to be limited to your typical networking and connecting events. Yeah, because you'll actually tap in more when you actually separate from the focus part and like cold plunging or putt-putt golfing or anything like that. People actually absorb more. You can talk and they absorb more when you're doing something different.
absolutely.
Very knowledgeable.
She mentioned health, and I feel like our last several guests in a row have and she mentioned it first, just like our other guests.
Yeah.
And, I'm beginning, more things just as far as connecting goes, but health is so important, and it's something that since that's something that I think in a good way that I've been able to focus on more in the last year, getting more into at least a routine of that, because it is a de-stressor. We talked about that before the episode a little bit about, hey, your routines to help you de-stress. As you've moved here in the Austin area, where do you see Austin going? I mean, you have more and more people coming into town. You have, from my standpoint, you got more Californians coming into town. And finally going to California, I get it why they're here. You got those hills of California. You got the hill country here. So I see where they're like, oh, it looks so similar. Where do you see Austin? How do you see it growing?
I think that we have such a large talent pool here that especially within my age group, but also the cross collaboration with more seasoned executives collaborating with, the 20s, 30s. I think there's such a large talent pool here where people want to see other people succeed.
Yes.
And I think that's where we're in it, but I don't think that that's going to change. And I think that seeing the growth of businesses and real estate, and just obviously you can look outside the window and you can see skyscrapers all around. That's indicative of growth. And I don't see that stopping because of the type of person that lives in Austin. I don't think is going to be leaving anytime soon, because there's something about the type of person that lives here and the genuine, or the people that I've come across.
Mm-hmm.
We're all, they're cheerleading
Each other.
each other on. And I just don't see that changing.
Like attracts like.
Yeah.
So you're attracting those people.
Yeah. Don't ask me anything about business. I mean, just kidding. No, you can. But I mean, I don't have a full report to show you on all the things, but I can tell you from what I've seen in community-based events that it's not going anywhere. In fact, we'll probably see even more of it, which is great.
Yeah.
Because I know that that's something that we all want to do. Sure. So.
Yeah. I like this. You said in it. So in it to win it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That came to my mind. Everybody's in it to win it that you're attracting and associating with.
And
so that says a lot.
Yeah. And I think, and I'll let you get on to the next side.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Like, what? It's like, wrap it up.
No, do not.
No.
No, I've been terrible. Maybe I do get it. Learning. Learning.
I'm just also kind of intuitive too. So
I felt that. Me too. We just had a 3-hour conversation about this.
Yes.
Sorry.
No. Where was I going with this? The
and it's a win it.
And it's when just going back to your comment around, or our conversation just around genuine connection. There's people that I was at a connection event last night. People just want to see others rise up together as a group, and that is unique. From where I come, I lived in Atlanta. I did not see that or experience that. And maybe I was just at a different point in my life there. But here it's people are running their own race and they're cheering on the person next to them on their right and left. So it's really cool to see. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's not, I want to get ahead of you. It's we're all here together. Yeah. We're locking arms and we're all going to succeed at whatever adventure we're on.
And how can I help? I mean, even just from the few group events that we've had, I've, had people that have reached out for just, content. Hey, do you need help with content? Or we can take photos here, and just wanting to genuinely help. And they don't want anything in return. Oh my gosh.
It sounds a lot.
It's a lot.
That says a lot about you.
Yeah.
And
then.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Less about me and more about that.
Well, yes. Yeah. But again, like attracts like. So you're a very giving person from your heart, not expecting anything. And so you're attracting the same people. So
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The community aspect and collaboration, that's something that when you go back and look through time, all the successful generational is they've always collaborated with the other successful generational. And somehow we've been, in my industry, in our industry, the oil and gas, the same thing. It's like, it's pretty much, you're on an island on a rock. And I think being one of the seasoned people, I heard.
And I meant that complimentary, by the way. I meant that in very complimentary.
Seasoned people wanting to work with the 20 and 30-year-old.
I mean it like that. I knew you were going to say it that way.
So that we do have to do a better job of just sharing our knowledge. I mean, we had on a lady the other day in the oil and gas, and she just poured out her knowledge. And there's people that we've met that they'll know more. Like, I use my dad. He'll know more stuff and forget more than a lot of us will ever know.
Yeah.
And so the more we can tap into that, I know Kristy was talking about that she's got one gentleman that's like, it's like just that knowledge that they want to sit there, they want to sit and they want to talk and they want to share. Mm-hmm. Take the time to listen. Yeah. And that's what she tells me to do too. I mean, it's like
pause and be still and listen. That's all you have to do. You have no idea how you would change somebody's life. I mean, I've been interacting with people that if I didn't pause and smile and listen to them, they were going to commit suicide, like right after that interaction. So it's like, just pause, be still, and listen to people. That's all people want to be heard. They want to be seen and heard and share. And so it's been, with him, it's been like, it's okay. Like, we don't have to hustle and go and stuff like that. The relationship, pause, be still, listen, and it's so powerful because you change one person's life.
Absolutely.
Always leave people better than the way you came across.
Absolutely. Always. I say that with my students.
Really?
They will leave the classroom.
Yes, always.
Better.
That's
than
my
they
purpose.
entered the room. We don't have to be doing algebra when we leave, but we need to be better than when we walked in.
I
But
love that.
to your point around hurried, and I struggle with that too, by the way, of just being like, ooh, we're spinning multiple plates all the time and just having time to stop and think, and also have meaningful conversations too, where it's like, okay, my time, extra 10 minutes to ask someone, how are you really? So
what's 10 minutes out of,
so
you can have a shortened lunch or eat lunch, on the go, but that extra 10 minutes is not going to hurt.
I always think back, like, anytime I've done that, or I'm sure you have this experience too, you're thankful that you spent the time
Oh, yeah.
to do it.
It's a life-changing. I mean, he actually, we were having a conversation. He calls me gravity. And so it says a lot about just what I am doing with the people. I'm just being me, but it shows that they get value of whatever I tap into with them. They needed that. That was a divine appointment. Everybody that you meet is a divine appointment, and you have to take that as a gift.
Yes.
And be present, because that's why I call it present. It's a gift.
Yes.
It's a present that you get to open at that time. So super. If you just tap into that aspect of life, then you're going to be skyrocketing.
We'll have to talk more about that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
We did this thing wrong.
Whoa.
I'm sweating over here.
We didn't know we were gonna find my twin that's also just brunette. I love that.
I love the red hair. So let's switch for a day.
Yeah. Put on a wig.
That would be it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, Kristy.
Yeah.
Wow. Blair.
I have a question for you. Am I allowed to ask you a question on this?
Good luck with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your eyes are big. You're like, you mentioned where do I see Austin going from a business standpoint with your experience in networking, and what are you hoping to see in Austin, and maybe what are your goals?
Wow. I'm hoping to see Austin only continue to thrive. That you have more and more affluent individuals moving into Austin. And what I'm hoping is here in this city, we can get to a common sense approach in, policy along with economic development. Growing up in North Texas and all of our family in San Antonio, taking 35 right here has been a journey in itself, and because you always go by 35 and you would, see it. And since 2007, it has just done nothing but expand. The University of Texas has a strong positive foothold on the state as far as bringing out great students out of there. And in Texas, we still lead the charge from an economic standpoint, and of course from the oil and gas industry. From an energy standpoint, we're one of the biggest solar power countries. Texas is wind power, along with obviously the oil and gas industry. So if we can just get our economics here in Austin, because again, Austin is gorgeous. So that's a very good question. So I do see a lot of development here with connecting, with growing here in this area. And we have several oil and gas companies that have moved into Austin because of a more healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so I really think that Austin is on its way, I hope, in a direction of great prosperity itself. Just again, the policy and the economics has really got to be able to play a good hand of that to continue to grow.
And over the next 12 months in the short term, what would you like? What would make you excited as somebody in the oil and gas space? If something were to change, what would that one thing be over the next 12 months?
Oh, man. I think for the industry as a whole to grow. I want to see jobs pick back up. I want to see everybody get back at it. That's one thing that I've enjoyed, that I've learned. And again, we're nobody special. But when you go into the small towns and you are using their men, their crews, you are providing more into a community. And it's not just those men and those crews. It's the restaurants you visit, the gas station that you go to, the warm little burritos that and so to me, it is a community, and we're all strong in the oil field. I know that's something that's even different from where I'm at. Yes.
I want to come out there.
Oh my gosh, I was in hog heaven, literally.
Well,
I was just like, yeah. People were like, move out, you're getting sprayed. And I'm like, that's what I want to hear.
Yes, no. But being out there in that community is even different than the other, like, there's just so much, but yet you can sit down somewhere. It's almost like when you're at the coast somewhere, and you can sit there and you can have a beach bum and a multimillionaire at the same little tiki bar shooting the shit. And that is equal. Yes. It's an equal playing.
Yeah. It's like breaking bread with them, but obviously you're watching, the whole crew, everybody do their thing, and the formula and the flow. And it was just like the ebb and flow of everything. It was literally like you have your family there, because without them tapping in, you're not going to be successful. And it was very, very amazing.
Wow. Yeah. So over the next 12 months, I want to see the industry as a whole only grow. Okay. And I don't know about the price. We'll see where that goes. But I think as long as the industry grows, then that means everything else is going really well. Good questions.
How can I help?
Oh my goodness.
From a networking standpoint, or really any standpoint.
Man, that's a tough one.
You can get back to me. I just figured I'd ask.
Yeah, I'd be like, ponder on that.
Okay.
Ponder.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'll ponder on that.
Homework.
Add to his schoolwork.
Well, Blair, I cannot thank you for this time. We talked about the Loop.
Mm-hmm.
How can people get connected? Even if they're seasoned, they want to share their knowledge.
Seasoned. I just want to let me reiterate here. Seasoned is allowed. Seasoned is allowed. Anyone is allowed. LinkedIn, Instagram, Blair Bravo.
Okay. And it's ATX Loop.
The Loop ATX on LinkedIn and Instagram, and then B Bravo on Instagram, or Blair Bravo on LinkedIn. I don't know many other Blair Bravos out there, so hopefully it's easy to find.
You're the only one.
Well, again, Blair, we cannot thank you enough for this time. I will say this dynamic, that was awesome.
That was amazing.
Y'all two met today.
For a reason.
For a reason. Well, yes, for a reason. But I just, it was
the
fun.
podcast. I'm talking, we just met. We were supposed to.
Yeah, this was supposed to happen.
Yes. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it was fun watching you two, kind of have y'all's own little mini podcast.
Sorry, did we make you feel excluded?
No, trust me. No, it's I'm more than happy. And so, Kristy, as always, we're ready to continue the rest of the year.
Yeah. Kick your butt.
Let's kick butt.
Take names.
That's right. And Blair, I'll get back to you on that question.
Please do.
And, we look forward to doing more.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on. This is so fun. I love this.
Yeah,
Love it.
Thank you. And to all our listeners and our viewers out there, thank you as always. And we'll see you again on another episode of The Crude Truth.
Again, The Crude Truth would like to thank today's sponsors: LFS Chemistry, NAPE Expo, Air Compressor Solutions, Sandstone Group, Exec Crew, Texas Star Alliance, Pecos Country Operating, and Real News Communication Network.
The easiest way to start your own podcast and TV show? Real News Communications Network. Stand out from your competition. Produce streams of high-quality social media content. Become a thought leader in your industry. With RNCN, you get to be the host. We handle everything else. Tour one of our 3 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Colony. Call 972-402-6333 or visit launchashow.com to find out more.